What's good, folks? So yeah, I wore a suit. I'm wearing a suit. I will be coming on air tomorrow. There's a lot to talk about. All sorts of will-focused news right now. So the reason I'm suited up is because I just did a hit on I-24, Israeli news channel, about the big tech stuff. Right, I did a whole Periscope on that earlier, but so that was just trying to get some practice. That's the way I see it, and it's cool to do it. Michelle McCory's awesome, so that was nice. But more news, which is that the Judge Trevor, the Honorable Trevor McFadden, I believe his name is, of the United States District Court for the District of Columbia, recently, just today, issued an order denying Democrats' motion for an injunction to prevent President Trump from using his authority under a national emergency to build the wall. And the question is why? Why did the court rule this way? Why did the court say to the House of Representatives, sorry, no dice? Why is that? The answer to that question is that they didn't have standing. And while I haven't been right about everything, I was right about this. Volume low? Okay. I'll be louder. Indeed. Take the L, guys. Take the L. The reason being, Article 3, Section 2 of the Constitution, which is where the judicial power, Article 3 is where the judicial power is laid out. Article 3, Section 2 says that the judicial power extends to cases and controversies under the Constitution and laws of the United States. That phrase, cases and controversies, does significant work. What it means is that there has to be an actual dispute. The court is not there to issue advisory opinions. People can't complain that the government is doing something unlawful, go to court and demand that the courts force the government to obey the law. That's not how it works. They have to prove that they have been injured. There are 3 elements to prove that a plaintiff has standing in federal court. First, there has to be an injury that is concrete and particularized. It's not enough to be a taxpayer. You actually have to have suffered a particularized injury unique to you. Second, causation. It has to have been caused by the behavior that you object to by the defendant. And third, it has to be redressable. The court has to be able to fix it. That's what Article 3 standing means. In this case, it was a fairly simple point that the judge made, that the House of Representatives was not injured, and so it does not have standing. The House of Representatives was making the argument that because the president was incorrectly interpreting national emergency law, that the House of Representatives, had their legislative power diminished because their intent was not manifested in the president's actions. Yeah, turns out not good enough. Turns out that's not enough. The case is, it's actually a unique area of law where legislators can challenge actions and say that their will has been thwarted. And in the circumstances where federal courts have said that federal legislators have standing to do that. One example of a case where courts have found standing is where legislators voted one way, and then for whatever reason, the parliamentarian ruled that the vote came out the other way. That is a case where a federal court has said, you know what? Your vote has been thwarted, right? You voted for this outcome, you succeeded, and the vote didn't come out the way it should have because of cheating by a parliamentarian. That gives a legislator standing. Other instances where a legislator might have standing is a case where Congress has specifically passed legislation, or the Constitution specifically gives legislators a particular right to say something. That wasn't the case here. There was no specific legislator who had standing. There was no specific legislative right to challenge these laws. And as a result, the court said, you don't have standing. Moreover, the court said, you have plenty of remedies. You can pass new laws that constrain the president's authority in this regard. You can pass a law overturning the national emergency declaration. You can pass a law, you can repeal these laws. That's an institutional ability that you, as a House of Congress, can pursue, but since you didn't, no dice. Too bad. Now, that's not to say I've been right about everything, because if you'll remember a couple weeks ago, a federal court challenge in California, federal judge Haywood Gilliam, who I believe is in the Northern District of California, not exactly Trump country. Judge Gilliam ruled against the administration in a case that wasn't specifically about the national emergency declaration, but was about the overall package of funding for the wall. In that case, it wasn't the House of Representatives that was trying to sue. In that case, it was a coalition of landowners along the border. And there, it's a closer question about whether they're standing, because clearly the effort to build a wall and seize land is clearly causing a constitutionally cognizable injury for those individuals. The question is whether or not those individuals, even if they are injured by the building of the wall, are they injured by the moving around of funds? Because again, that's what this is all about. Remember, President Trump was trying to find money for the wall, and he invoked certain emergency powers in order to reprogram funds from other Defense Department programs. In that case, the court said, even though the funding move was being objected to, the fact is this wall, these projects wouldn't have even been done without that funding move, and therefore the funding move is a but-for cause of the injuries to the plaintiffs. That said, there's not actually, I read the opinion from Judge Gilliam, there's not any cases supporting his opinion. This is clearly a new case, like nobody's made this sort of standing argument before, and I'm not sure he's right about it being a but-for cause. It's conceivable that they could have just used the money existing in 284 to inflict any particular injury on a plaintiff, and therefore, the funding move is not a but-for cause of anybody's injury. So it's not clear that that particular holding will stand on appeal. And moreover, there's a variety of other arguments that the administration is making to defend it, and Judge Gilliam had to reject all of them in order to stop this particular thing. So, I mean, the Ninth Circuit may not be friendly here, but at the same time, it seems like it's the kind of thing that'll end up going to the Supreme Court. That said, today's ruling is certainly a blow to the Democrats, because it means that any efforts to get the House in its own capacity to be able to object to the National Emergency Declaration, those aren't going to work. So the only available plaintiffs really are going to be the plaintiffs on the border, people who where the land has been seized and built. That's the only possible viable plaintiffs to challenge the National Emergency Declaration, and that's what I said from the beginning. If you actually read, if you listen to the old Periscope, I say it's not clear whether or not individuals at the border will have standing, because there's an interesting problem. It's not clear. But what is clear is that the House won't have standing. That was the argument I made before. It seems to be looking like a pretty good argument, like I was shockingly right. So if you guys are not tired of me being right, in the same way that you're not tired of winning, throw me a follow in the ... bottom right hand corner of the screen, hit the follow button, and www.humanevents.com/members, my founding father of Human Events. Questions? For those who are confused, for those who don't understand the nature of this decision, let me know. Hit me up in the comments. Ninth Circuit law. Carpy says, I'm so tired of being wrong about you being wrong. I can understand that. Why don't you have a glass of brandy in your hand? I'm trying to have a dry month. I'm kind of tired of drinking. Also, I'm reading this very interesting book about sleep. It's pretty clear that drinking is very bad for your sleep. It inhibits REM sleep, which is very important. Jack asks, Will, did the libs get owned? The answer to that question is yes, the libs got owned. Again, they're not really running too good right now. Is this about buying time? No, I wouldn't say it's about buying time. There's all sorts of court challenges that are working their way through the courts. This one clearly is not going to work. The whole House standing thing, I don't see that going anywhere. But the real ones that might stop it are the ones by landowners at the border. Somebody says, you look sharp, where are you going? I just got done doing a hit on I-24, so I had to look good for that. And I figured I currently look good. Then I went to the Trump because I was like, I look good, so I'm going to the Trump. Like, I don't want to waste all the effort that I went into, putting on a suit and shaving and looking sharp. And so I went to the Trump, had a burger, and then I came back and this national emergency thing hit, and I was like, I should do a scope on that. And once I realized I should do a scope, then I was like, well, then I should still look good because Doing a scope, looking good is better than doing a scope not looking good. So I look good. Jack says, I'm not tired of the libs getting owned. It's impossible to get tired of it. I agree. Somebody added a question. Is it true the Democrats bought land on the border to prevent the wall from being built there? I wouldn't be surprised, and that would be a perfectly viable strategy to create a plaintiff withstanding. It's not that you can't do things like that, right? The whole point, if you can create a dispute, you get to play. It's the same way like when I did class action objections. All I had to do is make sure that I was a member of the class, and there's nothing to say that you can't just make yourself a member of the class in order to create an injury. It just has to be a dispute. BLM takes land from people all the time. Indeed, they do, and it's unclear. It's unclear that the money is a but-for cause. That's why I'm not sure that Mr. Judge Gilliam's ruling will hold up. I'm not sure about that. I think it's a close question. I think the argument is it's not a bad argument for why they're standing, because again, there has to be a dispute, and here, there is an injury in the constitutional sense. An injury in the constitutional sense is very easy. It's a very low bar to cross. Like, oh, somebody's building on your land. Clearly, you are injured. Like the government is coming in and using its force to make you do something you don't want to do. That's an injury that gives you the right to legally challenge it. Now, whether or not you actually have a cognizable claim in court, it's a different matter. But there's the standing question, which is, can you even show up? Right? Are you even injured, or are you just a clown showing up in court complaining about the government doing something you don't like? Right? Are you injured, or are you just a random taxpayer? That's what they're doing. He says, Trump supporters are truly ignorant. You're watching like a moron. Except now you're muted. Tom says, how many I-24 hits have I done? I've done 2. This is my second one. It's helpful to have the publisher of Human Events, Chiron. Makes things a lot easier. Do like that. I do like that. Makes life simpler. So, my second hit. Basically, I'm trying to do these hits because I'm trying to get practice. Like it's unnatural, really. There's technique to doing a TV hit, especially remotely. That you just kind of got to get used to it. And I've probably done 3 or 4 total remote TV hits now. 4 I think. And so I want to keep doing them because they're just good practice. Because it's very unnatural to talk and keep your eye focused on a camera when there's no one else in the room. So that's pretty weird. Jack says, LOL, a federal judge decided with Will and they still want to call you a moron. Right. Keep going, guys. I'm sure it'll work. One of these days I'll be wrong and it'll be fine and you'll feel really good about yourself. Carby says, when will we be on Tucker? Raheem is way ahead. I don't know, but I'm not willing to get suspended from Facebook in order to get on Tucker. So that's all Raheem. Yeah, there was Waters wanted me on at one point, but eventually that got canceled, and then I haven't gotten a call back. I'm sure I see it as inevitable at this point. So I'm just kind of patiently biding my time and doing more good work and writing more articles that get tons of play and make an impact. And I'm going with a so good you can't ignore me strategy, right? If I just do what I do in terms of texting and other stuff. Yeah, Jack says they're good media trainings. I should do that. Why the Democrats launch investigations into big tech? Because they're dumb. Because they're dumb. I don't think Democrats realize how silly what they're doing is, but all more power to them. And now we get to play what Republicans would normally be here to protect you all from the over abuse of antitrust. But turns out we're not really fans of your behavior right now. So sorry, Facebook and Google. We're going to keep investigating you for antitrust too. Enjoy that. Have fun. Enjoy losing $140 billion in market cap. Don't want to go too in depth on that one because I did that yesterday. All right, I feel like that's good. Feel like we covered it. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Will Chamberlain, Twitter, Periscope. Publisher of Human Events, www.humanevents.com/members. Become a founding father. Support what we do. This is there's a reason I do this on Periscope. The reason you have all this great content on Human Events. It's because of your guys' support on Human Events. Thanks, guys. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.